Hey there, comic book friends. It's Travis, and we're gonna do an Uncover the Covers. This is for Marvel Solicitations for February of 2015, and I have my special guest here with me, Damien Sleep Reader 666. How's it going, Damien?
Hooray, very glad to be here with my weak internet connection tonight. Um, so we're just going to be discussing covers, I guess, and the
Right,
art of covers.
the art of covers. Partially due to the fact the last time I did one of these, we seem to be on the opposite sides of what we thought was a good cover and not a good cover. So we'll see how that actually works out when we actually
Right.
start talking. We start covers. So we're gonna attempt to screen share here, and hopefully I'll get the screen locked out so we're everybody's seeing the covers as opposed to it flipping back and forth between the two of us and whatnot. Um, and we'll see how it goes.
I'll try screen sharing too.
Okay. Oh yeah, gotta love that. Let's see. Okay, so hopefully we are seeing, and full disclosure here, I'm using CBR. Obviously, you can see my desktop here. I just find it easier to use theirs than any of the other solicitation sites. So we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna start out. We're not gonna talk about the adaptations off of movies or TV shows or cartoons. We're just gonna jump right into Guardians Team Up number 1 and 2.
With a cover by Art Adams.
And of course, me and Damien have talked about some of these covers before because we attempted to show us before my computer went haywire, and then I deleted that video. So this is gonna feel like we've discussed it before. So here's the cover by Art Adams. I'm actually a fan of Art Adams. I like his style, so I'm always attracted to it, just in general. What do you want to say about this cover, Damien?
Well, I like a lot about it. I find that there's too much of a crowd of superheroes at the bottom. I feel that's a bit of a jumble. So like my eye goes to the Hulk and then just sort of sees a crowd. But I like the figures coming down out of the darkness, the Guardians of the Galaxy themselves. Groot looks very cool. Art Adams seems a little dated in the sense that he still over-sexualizes the women a bit more than a lot of artists these days.
Yep, that's true. And did we just lose Damien again? Yes, we did. Okay, so Damien's having issues, so I'm going to keep talking about this cover until Damien jumps back in. His internet connection keeps fading in and out today, so this could be interesting. At any rate, I kind of like this cover. I don't have a problem with the weight of it because I assume that at the top up there it's going to have the title, and that's going to not make it feel bottom heavy. I don't think. And I think that spatially the cover works and stuff. So I like it even if it is busy at the bottom.
I just went out and came back.
Right.
So
welcome back.
if I'm being unresponsive, that's
Yeah. So next, Guardians of the Galaxy and the X-Men, the Black Vortex Alpha number 1. I look forward to him sticking that entire name on the cover.
yes. I do like the name Black Vortex.
Okay. So what do we think about this cover?
Is this one by Coppell?
Yeah, I think so.
Thought I recognized his style of faces. Again, too much of a crowd for my taste. And, I know you always complain about just all these random figures at different sizes all jumbled together.
Right.
And certainly, I don't know if I always am bothered by that, but I'm certainly bothered by that here.
Yeah. It's not quite the floating head syndrome, but it's awfully close. Just all these, bust shots of a bunch of random heroes. Well, I guess maybe they're not random to the book. I don't care for that. I think a lot of them have goofy looks on their faces. Certainly Magic down there in the right-hand corner is doing her damnedest to give us the Brokeback look as much as she possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for this at all. I don't like the pinkish hue of everybody. Yeah, there's pretty much not anything about it that I like.
Yeah, it's sad that we're agreeing so much, but I have to agree with you.
Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy number 24.
And this one, although crowded, works better for me.
Well, yeah, I like the fact. I mean, clearly he's sitting on some sort of a throne of sorts. Everybody's draped around that throne.
Right.
It depth-wise, it makes sense. People are where they should be at, appropriate to, um, to him being there. He clearly is the center of attention, but the rest of those characters are interesting, but not so distracting as to for you to not focus on, on Star-Lord there in the middle.
Right, and even the colorist focused on keeping that focus towards the center so that the characters kind of gray out as they head towards the edges of the picture.
Right, right.
So if you have to do a large group on a cover, this is the way to do it. I think this artist has done a very good job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And no one's expression seems out of kilter with all the rest or anything like that.
Right. I mean, to me, I like the cover also because it's curious. It feels like it tells some sort of a story because
Right.
the look on the characters' faces that are around him, it's puzzlement or
Right.
bemusement kind of a thing, or is that Gamora that's clear off in the corner there, the green-haired?
I guess so. She looks kind of young, but
Yeah, but I mean, she looks off-put by the whole thing. I
Right.
mean, so there's clearly some sort of a story, even on itself, and I kind of like covers where it feels like it's as a story unto itself.
and in the background is the Impossible Man smiling, which makes sense because he would be clueless as to the social situation
Right,
around.
right. Yeah, yeah, that's a good cover. I like it.
And I am curious. I mean, I won't buy this because it'll be too expensive for me, and I'll wait and get it in another form. But this would be a tempting cover. This cover would tempt me to buy a comic just because of the unusual mix of characters and everything.
Well, yeah, I would want to
Make
pick
you
it up.
wonder what's going on.
Yeah, I would want to pick it up and thumb through it at minimum. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's I think what a cover ultimately needs to do is make you want to pick it up and look at see what's going on.
Right. Definitely says something is interesting going on here.
Yeah. So next we'll move on to Legendary Star-Lord, number 9, and this cover is by Paco Medina. Oh, this is one of the ones I hate.
Yeah. It has nice colors, I'll say that for it, but the pose is awful. And Kitty Pryde down below just looks ridiculous with the way her legs are bending in funny ways.
Yeah, and there's no real background. That drives me crazy. Right. It's just they're standing in a flat void, but somehow they can stand on top of it also. It just those things that bugs me.
There's a lot of heavy lifting done by the colorist.
Right.
Just to try to give it some sort of sense of place.
Yeah. Yeah. So not a fan of that.
They don't give credits for the cover colorist in these solicits because that would be interesting if the color here was done by the artist, because sometimes it is on covers.
Yeah.
But anyway, we need to find something to disagree on.
Sure. It's going to be a while, I think, though.
I say, Travis, you stupid slut. This is
yes. All new X-Men. This is a Sarantino cover. I like it. I like the spiraling into the all new X-Men title there. I like that draw. I like the slice, even though it's, I don't know, technically be considered floating heads. I like little sliced layers of color with different faces in those different parts.
I have to say, viewing this cover as someone who doesn't know what's going on in All New X-Men right now, I can't tell what's going on. And it would be hard if I'd have to guess who these characters are even. I guess I'm seeing Angel there. I do like the way it looks, but I guess I'm just thinking in terms of like if I were just if this were the first all new X-Men I was picking up, I'm not sure what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, it's clearly the X-Men and the Guardians are in it because that's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Because
Right.
there's, the Raccoon. You've got
Right, you
Gamora
got those
in there,
little
and Star
slices.
Lord. The yellow ones are all Guardians, and then I don't know who the guy with glasses is down here, holding his head. I'm assuming that's Angel. I think that's like I don't know.
The guy with glasses could be the young Beast, since the all new X-Men has the
Oh.
young X-Men in it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know because I don't know the comic either, but I still like the cover. To
Yeah.
me, it's eye catching.
It's a cool cover, but I'm not sure it's very informative, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure.
And you'd have to look closely before you'd realize, oh, that's the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Spider-Gwen, number 1.
You want to go first? I feel like I've been talking too much.
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, because we talked about this cover before, and we have a disagreement on this. I like this cover. I like that background. I like the kind of it being an odd modern art representation of what I'm assuming is like skyscrapers and buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it adds enough to the background to be a background, and for whatever that cubism or whatever I want to call it, it interests me. I like it. I like the colors of it. I like Spider-Gwen's costume, but it's almost lost in that background, though.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it's supposed to do, but she shouldn't be I don't know. Other than it makes it look cool in a way because of that white part of her costume just kind of disappearing off into it. I wish she wasn't staying on a white plane, though.
Right. Yeah, to me it feels very much like an older, like cheap computer rendering of something, like an old video game or something, or someone's idea of what it would be like if you were trapped in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very visually unappealing to me. It's funny since we have discussed this in our previous failed video. This time, having looked at it more, I keep noticing her feet, which seem just kind of large for a woman's feet. But of course, some women have large feet. Total.
But, yeah, it's the fact that they're these kind of odd sandals. It's like
The
she's wearing
odd
slippers.
or whatever.
Yeah, she's wearing slippers. Yeah.
And I have
they're
red
blue.
Spider-Gwen, so I don't know if that's what she normally wears.
Yeah, and they're blue. I'm assuming they're that kind of more of a blue color because they're under her body, so they're shadowed. That they would normally be white, as the rest of her white parts of her costume, I would guess. But the reason they're blue is because they're shadowed under her.
Yeah, this is visually repulsive to me. I would not buy this comic if I'm just buying based on covers.
Okay. Let's move on to Silk number 1. The first cover we're going to look at is
Dave Johnson?
the standard Dave Johnson cover. And I like this cover. I like most of Dave Johnson's covers. I think he's a great cover artist. That's pretty much what he does anymore. I like the spider webbing. I like how it kind of all tightens in on there. I like the almost fisheye lens effect of the buildings.
Yeah, that looks.
You get below those buildings that she's attached to right there, kind of curve up and in, giving this kind of confined space that I like that. I like that the way that looks. It's busy, but it's simple at the same time. The spiderweb is somewhat busy, but at the same time, it's fairly clean lines and stuff. So, and she stands out on that red background of the sky.
Right, and the spider web is not just decorative; it really does feel like she's physically in it.
Right. Yeah.
That red. I wonder if that red will still be there in the final version. It's so flat. It almost looks like something they're planning to put something else in that space.
Hmm.
I don't know, just guessing. It'd be interesting to see if I can remember it by the time this cover actually comes out.
Right.
Looks how the logo will look against all of that red and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this seems like a really nicely designed, nicely drawn cover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at one of the variants. This is a variant by Stacy Lee. And I remember we talked about this the first time, and I said I kind of liked it, and I like it a lot less now.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing. I don't know what she's attached to.
Mm-hmm.
There's zero weight behind her other than her hair hanging down. There's nothing that gives it any depth or any. I don't know.
It seems to just rely on the novelty of a spider character hanging upside down, which might be novel if you haven't read many spider books before.
If you haven't read any Spider-Man books before.
There's always new readers.
Okay, you're fair enough.
But yeah, I think we agree. I think I already didn't like this the first time.
Yeah.
I think it just relies entirely on sort of the computerized coloring to just hoping that will make the picture somehow interesting.
Mm-hmm. I like her eyes and her eyebrows. I'll go that far. Beyond that.
Often find, I mean, not always. Sometimes there's wonderful variant covers, but I often find variant covers are the lesser covers.
Mm-hmm. Lots of times, that's for sure. Okay, so Wolverines number 5.
I hate this cover.
So what do you hate about it?
Well, stylistically, it seems ugly to me. And then on top of that, the colors are ugly and the expression on the people's faces are unpleasant. I mean, you could argue that that's how they should look in the middle of a fight, but I just don't like looking at it. And the way their bodies are twisted, if I stop to think about it, it just looks wrong. Sabretooth's leg in the background looks horrible, but even the way the woman,
I think that's X-23.
X-23, I always forget her name. The way her legs are sort of behind and around his body there.
Yeah.
It just looks like the artist didn't put much effort into positioning these people.
Well, I don't know if what's going on, if they're falling and they're a tangled mess falling.
Oh, right, that's
that
true.
That would be the only way to justify the tangled positions they're in, because certainly those are not fighting poses from either one of them, really.
Right.
Other than she's swinging her claws for all she's worth. I mean, I don't know otherwise exactly what's there.
Her left leg is between his neck and his shoulder muscles.
Uh-huh.
And then somehow twists around the right leg to be coming forward.
Right.
It's just...
I mean, I actually like their faces. I mean, she looks vicious and pissed off. He looks visceral. So that part of it, I'm okay with. I don't understand the background either. Is that water or is that sky up there? Because it almost looks like water, and it looks like they're falling. Does that mean they're falling away from us? I don't know.
Or are they falling towards us? We're underwater and they're falling towards us, or are they falling away from us?
Okay, but if that's the case, then their hair and stuff like that isn't moving the way it should, because if they're falling towards us, their hair would be through water. Their hair would be pulled back away from them, not flowing all around. So it's a confusing mess.
Yeah, but I think there's a certain kind of style that was particularly popular in the 90s that just sort of overdoes things in certain ways, and some people like that, but it doesn't usually work for me.
Yeah, I mean, the over-the-top, big, grand-looking fight, if you just glance at this, it is that. It's this crazy stuff's going on, so maybe that's...
So some people might find it really pops or something, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't mind the colors either, but...
Colors are so-so, I guess, but somehow they bother me.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go on to Wolverines number 6. Jason Masters cover, I think, is who did this.
That's so this is the last one was number 5, and this is number 6.
Yes.
Very different cover style, kind of a shock.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah. I mean, I like this cover much better. It's still a bit of a confusing cover, but it's still artistic style-wise appealing to me anyway.
I am okay with Nightcrawler. I'm assuming that's either Sabretooth or Sabretooth Wannabe, and Colossus. Their fight right there, that part of it makes sense. Then you slap these two women in the stereotypical coming from both sides of the screen to clash in the middle, and then a giant floating head in the background.
It's definitely a bad.
I hate that part. That's the style and composition that drives me crazy. I just don't care for it. I've seen it a million times, and I don't think it's ever done really well either. I don't think it's been done well since probably George Perez did it back on some old Teen Titans covers. I don't think it's been done well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, George Perez would... I mean, his compositions of crowds are masterful, and this just seems thrown together willy-nilly. It's almost like there were 3 pictures that got photoshopped together in a way. It would have been great, I think, if it just had the 3 figures in the foreground and then just some other kind of background.
Right. Right, because they just kept taking characters and throwing them in the background to fill up the space and whatnot.
Let's just put more and more in.
I'm not. To tell you the truth, I'm not feeling much about this cover. I don't know. It's like color pencils or something that they did this with. Almost kind of feels like that kind of a sense to it, and I just don't. I don't know that I like the way it's colored either.
Yeah, maybe colored pencils or a mixed media with pencils and other things.
Yeah, I mean, granted, this could all been done via computer.
Yeah.
Done by computer, and they just. But that's the style of it. I mean, to me. So when I say pencils, I don't know that the artist literally was setting their color pencils, but used that sort of technique to develop what they did.
Right, and that scratchiness and everything.
Right. I'm not real excited.
I think I'd like it a lot if it didn't have those if it had a different background than those other figures. I wonder I mean, it seems like a lot of these Marvel comics that we're looking at just really want to pack as many people into the cover as they can. I wonder if that's just a random chance or an actual editorial mandate.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. So many of their books aren't solo books. That's
right. And lately they're really emphasizing, like the X-Men with the Avengers, the X-Men with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're bringing groups together all the time.
Right. Right.
Of course, this next cover, if I'm looking at the right one, is only 2 figures.
Spider-Man 2099, number 9. Yeah.
That's an interesting cover. I don't know if I like it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. It would help if I knew who that big green guy in the background was.
I think there's a future Hulk that looks kind of like that.
Yeah, because his arm just looks. Because his arm looks really huge in girth, but not very long. I mean, I get the fact, perspective-wise, if he's holding him straight out towards us, the arm looks shorter. I get the perspective, but he's holding it off to the side. It just feels like his arm should be.
I didn't notice that at first, but you're totally right. The perspective is wrong.
I mean, it's like he doesn't have. It's like they gave him no forearm. Either he has no forearm or he has no bicep. One of the two to me, feels like it's not there.
It's like the artist drew the arm and then decided to draw the body in a different spot than it should have been for a foreshortened arm.
I kind of like Hulk with a beard, though. If that's supposed to be it's supposed to be a Hulk. I don't know. There's elements of this I like. I like the color paint job of this texturally and whatnot. I like the way that looks. I mean, clearly the cuts and tears in the Spider-Man costume. You see flesh underneath it. The flesh looks like real flesh. the costume has a texture to it.
Yes.
It's not one. They don't look naked and they just painted something on them. I mean, the spider, the red of the Spider-Man's costume, you can see the texture of where the two fabrics meet and stuff like that. So I like everything about it as far as that goes. I don't even mind that there's not much of a background because clearly these two characters take up most of the cover.
Right.
The only thing that seems weird to me, really, I mean, I even like the big giant fingers. It's just that arm is a little too short. So it makes me look at it and go, huh. And because that's right in the middle of the comic, your eye kind of goes between their two heads, between the two faces of the two characters.
Mm-hmm.
It forces you to keep looking over that dwarfed arm.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, because when you think about composition, you want places for the eye to focus, and my eye keeps bouncing back and forth between their two faces.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even between Spider-Man's or Spider-Man 2099's ripped costume and then the Hulk's face, and then back and forth. I don't know. I liked it when we first started, and now I have more trouble with it the longer I look at it. But I think I think it would jump out on the racks.
Yeah, I think so too.
So on that level, I think it's a successful cover.
Okay, so next is Amazing Spider-Man 14 and 15, and to tell you the truth, I don't know which one of these is
the original.
Is the original, so I'm just going to pick the first one and work our way across.
Yeah. That looks like what I would imagine a variant would look like, but can you tell the signature? Because Cam Coley, I think, is the main cover artist. It doesn't matter.
This is the Cam Coley one, I think. I don't like this cover. I don't like anything about it. First and foremost, it doesn't look. Is that supposed to be spider webs? Because they don't look like spider webs to me. They look like twigs.
Well, yeah, okay.
And the starry-eyed thing. No, I mean I don't.
I don't love this cover, but it kind of works for me. And if the story inside, has a cosmic kind of element to it,
has floating blue eyes. Yeah.
I think it's kind of clever that it's kind of an abstract cosmic picture that also looks like Spider-Man's face, and I think that's kind of cool. So we disagree here.
Yeah, no, nothing about that cover would make me want to pick it up or even look at it.
I'd be quite curious.
So this is
both of these covers that are the Spider-Man 2099 and then that one look so serious, and I always think of Spider-Man as being fun. But anyway.
Yeah, and so I don't know. This is one of the variant covers for the Spider Universe stuff that's going on or not. I like this cover. I like the fact that it's at a weird. Everything's kind of thrown at a weird angle. I think this cover actually matches up with some other covers. Like you put the covers together and it makes a bigger picture.
I see.
I could be wrong.
When we did this, it looks almost like Alex Ross, but not.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have the slickness of Alex Ross,
right.
But it is painted. It's a painted kind of thing. I just like seeing all these weird Spider-Man characters on it and whatnot. It's busy, but I think you look at all the spiders that are around the outside, and it draws you towards the largest one that's closest to us. I think. Maybe not. I do feel like I'm missing part of the picture. Because there's like a Spider-Man off to one side that's swinging in, and we only see his feet and his hands.
That's a little odd. But like you said, it's part of a larger picture, right?
Right. And I always kind of like the Spider-Man pictures when they give you a really weird camera angle. And this one has an odd camera angle because the way that building goes up and away from us from the right to left, it's you almost feel like you need to turn your head to get to look at it the right way. But I like that feeling because Spider-Man basically defies gravity once he's attached to a surface.
Mm-hmm.
I like that giving us that kind of strangeness to it. I like this cover.
Yeah, I like it. I kind of would wish the colors were a little less muddy and fuzzy.
Sure.
But yeah, overall, it's a pretty cool cover. I'm really creeped out by those little spiders on the Spider-Man in the foreground.
Yeah.
That's quite a creepy. I'm gonna have fun, I think, reading Spider-Verse when I finally do read it.
Yeah. Some of the Spider-Man, but this is Amazing Spider-Man, so I don't know. That
But
just
isn't it
ties.
part of the Spider-Verse? It just looks like it must be part of the Spider-Verse.
Oh
It's the
yeah,
Spider-Verse epilogue.
yeah, it's the climactic conclusion to the Spider-Verse. Yeah, and then here's another. I'm not sure. Here's one that. Oh, here's 14, variant edition,
It
and
looks like
it's.
Ron Friends or something.
Ugh, I hate this cover too.
Oh, no, sorry. That's their TV tie-in.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's why I don't like it,
take
because
that
I
back
don't
again.
like that cartooning of it or anything. So, you got anything you want to say about that?
It's just ugly.
Thank you. Okay. I'm glad we agree on that. Uh, let's go down to Spider-Woman number 4. And this doesn't have a variant cover. I wonder why.
I guess my goal should be that we'll disagree so much you'll never talk to me again.
Oh, is that it? Oh.
No, I'm joking.
So here we are with another Greg Land cover.
Good old Greg Land.
If that's your thing.
I'm joking. For Greg Land, it's better than typical, but I still don't like it.
It's pretty tame. Yeah, I don't care for it either. Composition-wise, it works. To be fair, from that perspective, it splits. It segments the cover the way it should segment it to draw you right there to her fist or her face and whatnot.
He actually did a pretty good job of drawing the hands and everything. I mean, some artists fall down on that, but he's doing a nice job there.
But there's nothing exciting about this other than, for me, it's Spider-Woman. I like Spider-Woman, but
Right.
I'm avoiding this comic for.
Yeah, I'm sad they put Greg Land on it.
Yeah. So I don't know that I have a whole lot to say about this cover. It just is. I don't hate it, but there's nothing special about it.
That looks like one. You've talked about in the past, maybe not on these, but somewhere about covers that they just have in the drawers that they pull out when they need a cover.
Right.
Because that one just looks like it could. It just feels like Greg Land whipped it out, and then when they need a cover, they just throw it on.
Right, and they do. At least both of the big two companies both have a stockpile of just images that they've paid artists to do, and they will just use them. They'll say, we know we're going to do a run of Spider-Woman, we need X number of covers kind of in the bank, so we just have them. They call up some artists and have them crank out a few covers, and that's what it is. So it doesn't have anything to do with the story on the inside. The person who did it may not have any idea whatsoever,
right?
Unless of course they're the interior artist.
Which is the case in this one, but it does look like one of those generic covers.
Sure. It looks like yeah.
And I really miss the covers that feel like they plunge you right into the story.
Right. Yeah.
Oh well. This is a very different cover.
Secret Avengers number 13.
Holy moly. Is that some new version of MODOK? It must be, but I don't really recognize him.
So clearly this artist has a style. And it's not.
That was my first thought.
Right, and it's not your standard, let's do the 4-color superhero kind of thing.
It looks very non-Marvel or DC.
Yes. Yeah. How segmented everything is, and how, it's part of me likes it, and part of me doesn't like it.
At first I hated it, but looking at it longer, I like it more, and I think if the colors had been less, like these flesh tones and stuff had been toned down in some way, some just whole different coloring scheme might bring out the charm of this picture rather than make it look so clunky.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like all that line work, that style line work. I mean, I actually kind of really appreciate it. I really like the background. I love the way the water looks and whatnot. The way the water looks almost has a Darrow feel to it. like his backgrounds. Not as busy, but that's still that kind of like every curl of water, every blade of grass has to have it has to actually be an honest to God line. To me, it has that sort of a feel to it.
Right. Yeah, and down below at the bottom, it looks very Darrow-ish too.
I think for me, where it starts falling apart is when I actually look at their faces and I go, okay. So from a composition standpoint, I think it works because clearly your eye's going to land right there in the middle of MODOK's, lips. I think.
Right.
It's an odd cover. I don't.
Yeah, MODOK's face is a little unfortunate. I think
Well, I think all their faces are unfortunate. It's just MODOK's. That's his entire body, is his giant head face, and I think that's what makes it seem really cartoonish. Or not cartoonish isn't the word I want to use. Just caricatured more so than what I think we're used to seeing.
Have you ever seen the episode of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century where he fights a giant Elmer Fudd head?
Yes.
Kind of looks like that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think that if this were on the stands, I would pass by it because all I would see is that giant MODOK face. But looking at it closer here, I think it's actually mostly a pretty good picture.
I'd see it, I'd look at it and go, what's going on? To me, I look at the cover and I go, clearly it's tongue-in-cheek to some degree because MODOK is saying, well, please somebody help me tie my headband on. I mean, to me, that's a kind of it's funny. I don't know if it's supposed to be a funny issue, but the cover strikes me as kind of poking fun at itself because they're looking all Rambo-esque.
Oh, this is Trad Moore. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'd like to see other Trad Moore covers, but this is kind of a failed Trad Moore cover with some interesting stuff going on.
Right. Right. So, Operation Sin, number 2 of 5. No idea what this book's about at all.
Oh, it's a Darth Vader thing. No, it's not Darth Vader.
No.
Sorry, I just saw something that confused me.
Oh, it's got to be an awesome cover. He's punching a bear.
And what does it have to do with this woman punching this other guy?
I don't care. There's a guy punching a bear.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys with big beards tend to punch bears a lot.
That's right. Representing. Oh, I don't know this covers.
It looks like it's the 1940s. I'm just distracted by what the hell this story could be and what kind of Marvel story it is.
You got people walking into an odd-shaped igloo in the background. You got this kind of, I don't know, broken rising sun thing. The people in front are colored normal. The people in the background are colored red.
Right. I like the individual pieces of the picture.
Yeah, but put together,
it just seems dumb somehow.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the kind of cover. This is the kind of cover that drives me crazy. When they take all these different elements. I don't know. It's supposed to tell us some sort of a story, I would guess, but I don't know what that is, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it doesn't tell. The only thing it maybe tells you is it's in the 1950s or something, and a lot of people are getting punched.
Yeah.
People and animals.
Right.
I do feel funny sort of snootily critiquing these covers because I couldn't do half as good as, or an eighth as good as any of these people. I mean, there's incredible artistic talent going into this cover that I don't like.
Yeah. Well,
Just want to say that every now and then.
Sure. I guess I don't have a problem with that, I guess. So, an Alan Davis cover, New Avengers number 30, I believe. Oh, my screen's not going to load the rest of the way. There we go. Captain Britain.
Very mixed feelings about this one.
I didn't know that Captain Britain had cool facial hair. Oh, the cover.
Yeah, cool facial hair always helps.
It does. It's a bonus for you right off the top. That and punching bears.
Well, you live more in the woods, so punching bears is more of a regular thing for you.
It's relevant, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this cover too. I like the way he looks. This is like the traditional Alan Davis superhero pose, look, shading. that all appeals to me because that appeals to a lot of years of reading
The
superhero
old
comics.
fan in me likes parts of this cover.
Right. Um, yeah, I'm assuming that clearly it's some sort of war going on, so I guess the orange, red, flaming background works as far as that goes. Um, I'm not sure standing amongst the piles of bodies, that might be problematic for me. I don't know. I do. I like this cover, though. I like the traditional superhero pose of this character who's standing there.
Yeah, I'm not. It's both appealing in its retroness and I don't know. It just seems too easy. It seems too familiar or something.
Yeah.
The hero standing on the pile of bodies, I guess, is kind of a cliche, but
Right.
still, it might. It's not terrible. And I do like Alan Davis's inking or line style and everything.
Right.
Something's gone wrong here on the one I'm looking at now.
Avengers number 41.
It has a cover that I'm pretty sure is just completely an Ultimates cover from Brian Hitch from 15 years ago or whenever that was.
Is it really?
Yeah. Either that or it's such a close replica of it that it looks identical to
it is a Hitch. I mean, that is Hitch. I mean, it's got his name on it, so.
I'm pretty sure I bought this, whenever the Ultimates run was going, 2004 or 3 or something like that.
Did you like it then?
Yes, I did.
Do you like it now?
No. That's funny. Maybe just Hitch's stylistic things have become overly familiar. I don't know. What do you think of it?
I like the light. I like the light effect. I like that circle. I like the sun up there. I'm not exactly sure why there's a bright light down by his feet. There's something about those lines that I like. I like the silhouette of it. So I like that composition. Also, I'm not sure I'm real keen on Captain America himself. I hate those boots, but that's just an issue. That's just an issue with that version of the costume where he's wearing this clunky stuff.
Right.
I mean, I'm all fine for my superheroes not looking like they're naked with their costumes painted on, but to me that stuff that he's wearing just seems really clunky, even for Captain America. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming the reason the colors are the way they are is because it's washed out by how bright the sunlight is, or whatever, that's shining down.
I'm pretty sure I've just found the cover. It's either the cover of one of their trades or of issue number 1 of the Ultimates.
Are you going to share that? Let me get.
It's on my. If you
Let
can
me
click
get.
over to my.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me get
Or
unshared.
I can send you a link. Whoops, where'd it go? And click view image. That's not working.
Well, you were just showing it. You were just showing it.
Showing it in the Google search, and I was trying to go to the actual web page, but.
The Ultimates number 1 complete cover is what that says. So yeah, half of that is the cover we were just looking at.
So I don't get why they're just repeating the cover. Maybe could it be a mistake? I mean, Brian Hitch is listed as the cover artist, but maybe someone just grabbed an old Brian Hitch cover because they didn't have the new one yet.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a mistake as far as that goes. Huh.
Yeah, it's probably quite a good cover. I think it just seems overly familiar, and that's why I don't like it anymore.
Right.
I seem to be shallow that way.
I would have liked to have seen the Phil Noto variant on that one.
Phil Noto was good at covers.
Yeah. So, Avengers World number 17. Oh, my computer's being slow today. There we go.
What do you think?
Okay, they're in space, clearly.
Yeah.
And they're characters who can be in space, I guess. I didn't realize that Cannonball, I'm assuming that's Cannonball, the guy who doesn't have anything from his waist down. It's all flame.
He's a character I'm not familiar with. Cannonball.
He's a new mutant. He's a new
Okay.
mutant.
I
Or at
guess I
least
once knew he was then.
or at least used to be a new mutant.
Now I remember the New Mutant Cannonball, but that was...
Yeah. I'm assuming that's who that character is. I don't know otherwise.
The baby
Okay.
can breathe in space. That's handy.
Okay, so here's the thing is, I like the framing of the two people that are closest to us, the clenched fist and the other hand, and their legs or robes. I like that to frame the picture, to focus us in on whatever else is there. That guy that's way in the background back there seems very weak. Weakly drawn, weakly inked, weakly colored. Everything about him is weak. He's not strong. And I think he throws off the rest of the composition. I think if they felt like they needed to fill something in, they should have moved our characters that are in the middle over farther or something. To me, that weights it off to one side, and I don't think works as far as that goes. Texturally, I like it too. I like this, whoever this woman is that's in the front here. I like her, the texture of her, the way they've colored her costume and gave it texture and shine in places. The lighting effect coming off of her goggles or eyes, I think, is interesting. But I don't know. I mean, as far as this being kind of an open space, it works because clearly we're in outer space. I mean, there's a planet down there, in the atmosphere and in outer space. But I'm not really excited by this cover, though.
Well, there's a whole sort of style to coloring or painting that to me makes everything look sort of stiff and like I feel like I'm looking at those plastic sculptures that look kind of human that have been posed. I just wish there was more life to it. And so I think the problem is with the coloring or if it's an actual painting.
Well, it's also the fact they use two different. To me, it feels like they use two different techniques. So like on her, it almost feels like you can see her on like his arm and stuff. You almost feel like you can see the brush stroke on her costume. And then you get into like for the night sky up here that's away from the planet, it doesn't have any sort of brush stroke texture to it at all. Nor do these hands that are close to us, I don't think, have the same sort of brush stroke that it has there. For whatever reason, it works when Fiona Staples does it, and it does not work in here.
Fiona Staples' pictures always feel alive and in motion to me, and this just feels totally like it could be a bunch of plastic dolls that will never ever move from these positions and will just sit on my shelf on my toy collection or something. So, yeah, I get very turned off by, I mean, it takes a lot of talent to do this, but I just get turned off by these very stiff covers.
So, Uncanny Avengers #2.
Wow, it's taken them that long? I remember when Uncanny Avengers #1 came out 2 years ago.
It's called a reboot. Okay, so this is one of the covers. I don't know if this is a variant or what.
Now, this kind of painting I like.
Yeah, same here.
Everybody's in motion, and I believe in their movement. It probably is too busy, again, getting really picky, but I overall I like this, and I'd probably, be tempted to buy this judging from the cover.
Well, yeah, it's busy. There's lots of people on there. There's lots of action, but it's all properly depthed also. Everybody's at their own weight and place within the cover, as opposed to looking like they're all kind of slapped on the same plane of existence. They're all at different levels of different planes.
Right. Very true.
So that
everything feels right distance-wise and.
Interesting color choice to color it and palette it the way they did.
Yeah, especially to have the foreground person be so yellow. That's kind of unusual somehow.
Well, and usually, covers are really bright and garish because it catch your eye. And this is
Almost
more like
pastel.
right. This is more like a independent or an image book kind of a cover where it's more of a kind of a
Mhm.
flat, kind of a almost newsprint look to it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like it though. I do like it. I mean, it's interesting. I'm curious to know what's going on in it. It piques my interest. I would be.
It makes me feel like this will be an exciting issue of the comic book.
Yeah.
Although no doubt the art on the inside is nothing
Does
like that.
not look like that.
But
Yeah.
just judging by the cover, is that Brother Voodoo there?
I think it was.
Huh.
And here is another one of the covers. I don't know if this is a variant or this is the regular cover. I'm guessing this is a variant. This is probably by the same guy who did that.
That other one you didn't like.
Right. I like this one better though. I'm, um,
At
you
least
know,
everyone is part of the same picture, probably.
right. Well, and it's the running forward cover, which we've seen like a million
Mhm.
of if you've read a lot of comic books. But they're not running straight at us. They're kind of running at an angle.
Right.
So I kind of like that. I like this character up close. That's kind of like they're gonna reach out and poke us with a finger. Um, and the colors in this one work for me for some reason. They
Yeah.
they have a more richness to them that the other one I didn't feel like it did to me.
The Scarlet Witch looks odd, but other than that, I like it.
So is that the Scarlet Witch, even though her hair is black?
I just assumed it was the Scarlet Witch, but
Who else would it be, right?
since I've only read the Uncanny Avengers #1 that came out 2.5 years ago, I don't know.
Well, the Uncanny Avengers is rebooting, and it's a completely new team.
Ah, right. So maybe it doesn't have the Scarlet Witch. But even if it isn't the Scarlet Witch,
I
she
think that's
looks a
Rogue in
little
the
odd.
background. I think that is Scarlet Witch. That's Scarlet Witch, Rogue in the background, the Vision. What is that? Quicksilver? Is that his name?
Oh, is that Quicksilver? Okay, I haven't seen him in a while. His costume's radically different. That makes sense. He always had hair like that.
Right, because Quicksilver, way back in the day, didn't he have the green costume with the white lightning bolt going across it?
Right.
Way back in the day.
Okay, well, I'm old.
Yeah.
I only remember him way back in the day.
Well, same here. And I'm not sure who was up front, but I like this one actually.
Yeah, it's
I even like the Scarlet Witch kind of reaching up like that because
uh
Scarlet Witch, she's kind of magic and whimsical and whatever. I mean, I guess
she's got a magic bra on, that's for sure.
well, and I mean, I want to get technical. I guess her crotch area looks problematic, where that knee is up high. I don't know. I start getting picky about that, and like her leg is truncated wrong, and
Yeah.
but
I don't think she's as well done as all the other figures. It just feels a little off.
I like her head and her arm reaching out though, and that. Yeah.
Hmm. I wonder who this artist is. Let me see.
So
That's Simon Bianchi. Simone Bianchi or Simon.
is the one we were just looking at?
Yeah.
Okay. So Thanatos versus Hulk #3. Jim Starlin does the whole thing.
I know. I'm so angry about this. For nothing to do with covers. You know how I get a few Marvel comics through mail subscriptions directly from Marvel?
Uh-huh.
And so I subscribed to the Savage Hulk. Because although Hulk is often bad, when it's good, I like it a lot. So I switched away from the regular Hulk book, which wasn't good, and Savage Hulk was pretty good. And I knew coming up was this Jim Starlin story, but they decided to cancel Savage Hulk and just do this Jim Starlin story as a mini. And so on my subscription, they switched me from the Savage Hulk to the regular Hulk book that I was trying to avoid.
Oh.
And I'm not going to get this, at least not going to get it that way.
Right. Well, you aren't missing anything on this cover.
Yeah, the cover looks like a sad callback to covers of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, this is something that I would have done as a kid. I mean, just the fact is that how much of this cover is cheaply covered up by a special effect, basically.
Oh,
so
okay.
Look at all the stuff I don't have to draw because of this, thing that's going on there. I mean, I know the Hulk has weird proportions because he's the Hulk.
Uh-huh.
But even the proportions that are there don't make sense. That
Especially the arm on, I
the
guess, left
arms,
arm.
the arms,
Oh,
the
his leg.
hands. Ugh.
Yeah, and the body to the top of the body to the legs.
Right. It's like he forgot that the Hulk has a torso. You know. I. Ugh.
The bad guy in the front though looks kind of cool,
Yeah.
but it just looks incredibly familiar. The whole both poses look incredibly familiar from a million 70s and 80s comics.
Yeah. And not in a good way. Yeah. I don't. I don't like anything about that cover. Gonna move on. Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier #5. Wow. Um, I like this cover. This painting of this gory figure.
Right.
Um,
It looks very indie. It looks very non-mainstream.
right. The I don't know. I'm even amused by the blood splatter that ends up being the shape of a
Hmm.
star across the one eye. Even. Um,
Does he have a tattoo of fish bones on his neck, or is that something else?
well, I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking. Is that's what it looks like, doesn't it? Um, yeah, I'm curious that his knife there is called Winter's End. Um, I I like this. I love the texture and the feel of it. Clearly painted. Using blues for shadows on his arms. I don't know. I like everything about it. I saw this cover sitting there. I'm picking up to look to see what's inside of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, my first thought is another reason I can't bring my daughter to the comic book store.
Right. Sure.
The last time I brought my daughter to the comic book store, she came face to face with a cover of Spread and
Oh.
started crying, and we haven't gone back to the comic book store again.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
And this cover would really upset her.
Sure, and this is a cover on a comic that would sit on any comic shelf because it's not like intended for adults and would be stuck off to or even remotely in a corner. I mean,
Right.
I've been to some comic book shops where they kind of put the clearly adult material kind of stuff is off in one corner, but
Yeah.
this is a rated
It's a
teen,
Marvel comic book, yeah.
right?
And my comic book store just puts them in alphabetical order. I don't think they were thinking about,
Sure,
who would be looking at it face to face.
right.
But also, I feel like people who regularly go to comic book stores are a little numb to, because that spread cover was much more disturbing than this. But this would
Sure.
be enough to disturb a child.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a frightening cover. There's no doubt about it. I mean, a creepy skull kind of thing. I mean, I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That
No,
is a
I think
cool.
it's a very good, a new, because the artist has his own style and his
Mhm.
own approach, and it grabs your attention.
Yeah.
It freaks me out in the way of, oh my God, I got to see what this guy.
Right, right. What is this going on? What is Bucky Barnes about? Yeah.
Could this be the end of Bucky Barnes?
Yeah. Doubt that. Fantastic Four, number 643. This has got a whole bunch of different covers. I don't know.
His Chris Samney cover is a variant, but it's the first cover.
Oh, come on. There we go.
I usually love Chris Samney, but this one will be safe for my daughter, though.
Yeah, I'm not particularly wowed by this cover.
I mean, the background is nicely done, but it feels like he didn't find an interesting thing to do with Mr. Fantastic.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't have the inking shadowing that is normally, a Chris Samney kind of thing. You know what I mean? Well, like the buildings. The buildings are all really well done because, the way he shadows it and stuff.
right.
Plus colored well. But because so much of Mr. Fantastic is just the blue uniform, it doesn't have that kind of thing. It has a little bit of on the darker blue boots and gloves. But yeah, it leaves a lot of it to what shading and shadowing there is mostly the colorist did.
And in the Chris Samney covers that I'm used to, he usually finds something interesting to do with the main figure.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a picture of Mr. Fantastic stretching across the city, I guess.
Giving us the number 4.
Oh, the number
Fantastic
4. Right. I didn't even catch that, but you're right.
I didn't catch it until you said he's supposed to be doing something interesting. That's as close.
So I guess that's the interesting thing.
That's as close as I can get. Here's the variant, one of the variant covers, or maybe this is the regular cover. Kirk. This is Kirk, so this is the regular cover, right?
Okay.
I like the segmented cover. I mean, the 4 quadrants: upper, left, right, bottom.
Is that the Ragman? I'm joking. That's the first thing I think of. I'm not sure who that character is, but that's not important.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of what's his name? Oh well, an artist who does a lot of covers who I like.
Yeah, I kind of like that she's see-through. Clearly, I mean, because that's what because of who what the character she is. That's kind of cool. So you get to see that the rest of the background of those characters. I like the color element of it. But I don't know. There's something else I don't like about it. I can't quite place what it is. It's okay.
I feel a bit burnt out on these covers that just have a lot of characters floating on them. But as those kind of covers go, I feel like this is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the more I look at it, the more I like it. I do kind of like it. I mean, I think the oddest part is that character that we don't know who the heck that is.
Right.
It's at the top up there.
She's drawn in a really cool way in that, you just slowly realize, yeah, she's invisible. At first, you don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it makes me wonder if she's doing something to these other characters.
Yeah.
Or is this character that I thought was Ragman going into her and taking her over or something?
Yeah. Right, because their eyes glowing weird like that.
Right.
Because she and Submariner and I'm not sure exactly who the flaming guy is. Is that supposed to be?
I assume it's Johnny, but I don't know.
Okay. They all look like they're in anguish, and the person at the top doesn't. So maybe that person's affecting them. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, those are all things that make me wonder about the cover and whatnot, which is probably a good thing. If I'm questioning that, then I have some interest. But
yeah, so I don't know if I'm trying to read a story into the cover or if the cover really is telling me a story.
Right. I actually, like I said, the more I look at it, I like it. I like the coloring. It's okay. Captain America and the Mighty Avengers #5. Come on. Cover. There we go.
Okay, I instantly love this cover.
Why is that?
I don't know. It pops with movement. I like the line style. I like the colors. Yeah, I like that kind of slightly scratchy style if it captures some movement. It may be a style that's kind of very popular right now.
It is.
We're not seeing much of it on, but I feel like I see it in a lot of books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still like that style. I might burn out on it after a while.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely interesting. I mean the background stuff is interesting. The street light it makes it makes it interesting too. I'm just trying to.
It's very prominent, which is perhaps distracting, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to decide.
I still like it immediately, but as I kind of look and try to analyze it more, the streetlight seems strangely prominent.
Well, composition-wise, it still sets everything right in the middle stripe across the book. Mm-hmm. Because whereas the streetlight is prominent at the other end, there's another rectangled object behind them that pink sign back there. So that part of it it's all perspective-wise, that all works. Um, and clearly your eye focuses right in the middle of those two characters
Right.
going at it with each other, which is what's what you want. Um, no, I like it. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's another one of those ones where instead of using, I mean, don't get me wrong, purples and pinks and stuff like that are bright, but it's done in a flat tone, and I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting when a superhero book does that because, like I said, normally the big two want big, bright, bold colors,
Right.
and
I like this coloring a lot.
same here.
Some of the other coloring styles to me just stiffen the art too much,
Hmm.
or so I can appreciate the color and I can appreciate the line work here.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that cover too. It's a good cover.
I wonder what the artist Sanford Green. I don't think I've ever heard of him.
Nope.
He's not the interior artist.
No. Shield number 3. Ugh.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're supposed to be floating in some mystical place or whatever. That guy down at the bottom.
Right.
I'm hoping it's not Doctor Strange because he's bald.
I had the same thought too.
Um,
And on a first glance, instead of magical bubbles around his hand, I thought it was like slices of lemon.
that is Doctor Strange though, isn't it? Because isn't that like his window up there? That kind of weird
It's
symbol.
a very Doctor Strange like pose, and the window is, yeah.
Everything about that says that.
It reminds me of like if they hired someone to do a cover of a novelization and the person only vaguely knew who the superheroes were.
Yeah.
The bottoms of Spider-Man's feet really bother me,
He's got long feet. Yeah.
but also the flat color on the bottom is just strange. Why would, I don't know. That color has nothing to do with the rest of the picture, maybe.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Is that a behind Spider? There's a couple of like floating cups, I guess, with steam coming out of them.
Yeah, cauldrons of some sort. Yeah.
It's just an ugly picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It probably had a lot of work put into it.
It looks that way, but it doesn't appeal to me at all. All new Captain America, Fear Him, 1 through 4.
Captain America, Fear Him? Odd title. Is this Simone Bianchi again? Yes,
Yes, it is. Obviously, he did a bunch of covers this month.
Right. Well, now there, I like the effect of the black and white behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever that guy in blue is, he's just in a really odd position, and it's confusing.
I think that's Nomad.
Oh,
I think that's Steve Rogers' son. Because I'm assuming that the old guy in the background with
is
the
Steve
birds.
Rogers?
That's Steve Rogers with
Uh-huh.
the birds back there.
Well, then Nomad's holding some kind of toilet plunger that's going behind Steve Rogers. It's
Right.
just, if they'd handled that Nomad figure better, I think I
Right.
would like the cover
Each
a
of
lot
the,
better.
each of the elements looks cool,
Mm-hmm.
but once again, put together,
Right.
break down really quickly.
But I think it's a very cool idea to have a background of someone else in black and white like that. I like those birds.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems sad that it doesn't quite work because it could have been a really great cover.
Yeah. Part of this, I'm thinking that if I was a Captain America fan, that this is an homage of some sort. I mean, because isn't that such a standard Captain America, or Captain America that's in the foreground here? That shield that way, the punch that way. I mean, is that like a standard kind of a? It feels like I've seen, like this. There's an old cover that looks something like this. But,
Might be. I can't picture the old cover in my head, but
yeah, I'm not either. All new Captain America number 4. Stuart Oeming cover.
This one almost works for me. I don't like all the force lines. They somehow seem to overwhelm the picture too much.
Yeah, at first I thought it was raining, but then I realized it's all coming.
Right, it looks like rain almost the way
But it's all focusing in
Yeah.
on the middle there where it quits. I mean, it made sense as rain until I saw the lines coming up from the bottom. So that doesn't create motion. I don't understand what that's supposed to create. I mean, I understand those streak lines for for motion and movement, but I don't understand.
Yeah, I think it was just someone did it in Photoshop and shouldn't have. They must have felt like the force lines of the guy's fists on top of the shield weren't enough, so they had to add more.
And I don't understand the pink highlight around part of the Hydra. Is that a Hydra agent?
I think that's Cobra.
I lost my page.
Oh, but at least I'm not. I thought I was going off the air for a second. You could switch over to me for a second. Or there, you're back. Oh, no?
Nope, I still lost my page here, so I'm going to flip over to you.
So, yeah, that glow around the Cobra. He's an old. I think. I don't know if he's only a Captain America villain or whether he was also a Spider-Man villain at some point. I think mostly Captain America. So he's like a snake man who can strangle you and stuff.
Okay.
Very flexible. But why he has that pink glow, and I guess the pink glow is also going around part of Sam Wilson.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
But not around all of him. It is odd. I wonder if that's some, Photoshop guideline that they will remove before the final cover comes out. It's not the best cover in the world, but it's kind of cool. It at least, I like the sense of action. Just take out those white streak lines and it would be
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
for me.
Right. The streak lines in the pink are the part that
And
seems,
the pink, yeah.
seems strange to me. So the next one that we get actual covers for is Ant-Man #2. I think this is the Mark Brooks.
It's going to have a Jeff Darrow variant. That almost excites me. I mean, it does excite me, but I won't pay extra for variants. Not enough.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have the Jeff Darrow cover to be seen.
So here he is on a flying ant. I don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't really care for this. It's too dark or something.
Yeah, it's dark and
lifeless.
Yeah, it brings out the ugliness. It has no charm to me, and it's just dark.
Yeah.
Ant-Man's smaller than usual compared to ants, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't care for that at all. I don't have much to say about it. Here's a variant.
It's interesting that Nick Spencer will be writing Ant-Man. That makes him seem more interesting to me. But
this variant cover I think is fun.
It is funny. Yeah.
Him trapped inside the bubble, welcome to Miami, and the ant on the outside being puzzled, looking at him on the inside. And
if you happen to be a big Ant-Man fan, this would be a fun one to have as a poster or something.
Right. And I'm not a fan, so.
Yeah, there's so many Ant-Man fans out there just screaming for an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, clearly. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #2. So.
I love everything on it, but the expression on her face.
Her face, yes. I mean, it's cute. Her riding Iron Man like a surfboard.
Yeah.
The squirrel attached on
with
top.
the ribbon on top of it. If it is Iron Man, or is it some
Ultron, or I don't know. It's clearly supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
I just wish that her.
She looks retarded.
Yeah, her face wasn't squished up the way it is and whatnot. She was a little less fugly. Yeah.
But the colors are really nice. It seems like everything's good about it except the face, which is odd.
Right.
I
Well,
don't know
because
if her face is supposed to be like that all the time. I know nothing about the character of Scrub.
yeah, I don't either. But yeah, it looks like fun. I mean, it looks like it would be something to be fun to read.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that she's the interior artist also,
Uh,
Erica Henderson.
and this is the first Marvel comic to be written by Ryan North, who does tons of Adventure Time. So I'm
Oh,
curious about that.
yeah,
But I have a feeling that I won't like it. I just don't know why.
right. Superior Iron Man #5. Some Mike Cho cover.
Ew. You would have to kind of twist my arm to buy a cover like that.
Oh no! This is one of those everything wrong kind of. Uh, uh,
I wonder if this is even the completed cover.
ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I'm not a fan. I, this is one of those flat covers. I just don't know. I don't understand the dot matrix texture to make
Hmm.
things have texture, and it's universally spread across everything.
That's why I wondered if this is incomplete, coloring wise.
I bet you it isn't. You know, that standing on top of the grimacing villain in the background can
Hmm.
work sometime. It does not work
Right.
here.
Yeah, it more just looks like they're standing on blank space, really.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
And
just hate that cover.
yeah, uh, Angela Asgard Assassin #3. And these covers have all been really cool looking. And I love this one too.
Oh yeah, that is nice.
The colors, the I like the fact that like this clearly this winged tiger that's here,
Hmm.
that it's kind of this bright orange glow to it. You move down to the bottom, the sunlight shining down those leaves on the ground
Yeah.
and has that same glowing bright hue, and then we get this kind of greenish blue stripe in the middle. I don't know that segments things really
Hmm.
well.
This artist has a great sense of light and
Yeah.
is good at, even though it's kind of painted, it has a feeling of movement.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it just looks really cool.
I'm kind of wishing I was picking this comic book up. The covers just look cool enough to make me wish I. See,
Well, Hastings will always be happy for you.
yeah, I know. But I would pick this up. I would pick up and thumb through this to see what the heck's going on because that
Oh yeah,
that cover is completely compelling to me. Um, you know, she's not horribly out of proportion. Yeah, she's scantily clad, whatever. But this winged, tiger things, some guy that looks like they were riding it. I'd be all over wanting to know what's going on in this book.
she's scantily clad, but it's not like they're saying, "Look at my floating bosoms" or anything
Right,
like that.
right, right. Yeah, that's a cool cover.
I know that was ungrammatical. Bosom should be not pluralized.
Yeah, she's not that endowed.
I wonder if Angela would be child appropriate.
Um, Asgardian assassin. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that means she
Okay, that
kills
would
people.
follow.
So I mean, if you're talking for Quacking Duck, I'm
Yeah,
assuming assassinating people isn't the top of your list of.
true. I just she sounds, someone who's very powerful and female sounds very good.
I'm curious by the artist on the interior of that book, getting kind of off subject because it's Phil
Well,
Hernandez
Hernandez.
and Stephanie Hands who did the cover. She's the artist in the interior too, so I don't know what part she's doing.
Huh.
I love her art. She did a couple issues of Fearless Defenders too that are just the whole comic book looks like that cover. The whole
Am
interiors.
I confusing Phil Jimenez with someone else, or is he the one who kind of draws like George Perez?
Yes,
So that
yes.
seems an odd choice for
Uh,
this Asgardian kind of thing, but
makes me kind of want to pick it up more. I
huh.
think. Miracle Man #15.
Well, I hate to be put down Tim Sale, but I don't like that cover. it just looks like a really hastily done sketch that then had a whole bunch of hastily done coloring done over it to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the inking's wrong on it. It almost looks like really, really old school Miracle Man to some degree.
Yeah, I think they're trying to capture that old school feeling, but it just looks like, maybe a sketch you would have seen in a fanzine back in the old days. Some leftover by the artist who said, "Sure, you
Or
kids, go ahead and publish this."
right, or I was at a con and they hastily did a con sketch for me.
Right, right. Yeah, so
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks
strange.
like to me.
And then there's
And
another cover which is looks more like the artwork that I think of as the early days of Miracle Man. It's by John Totalbaum, or however you say his name, who was one of the original artists.
I hate this cover even more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't hate it more, but all the flame is kind of too much.
Well, I don't understand the inking style either. The lines. What's the purpose of that? I mean,
That's John Totalbaum's style.
yeah, I don't like it.
I used to love him on The Swamp Thing with Alan Moore.
Sure, but I don't know.
He just has kind of an etchy kind of style.
Right, right. I get it. Like almost like a block print kind of a
Right.
look, and I get that, and it works for Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
To
Doesn't
me here,
work here for you.
not with a bunch of bright fire and stuff. I don't know.
I don't, maybe it's just a nostalgia thing, and I loved so many comics that were drawn by this guy that I see it and recognize his style, and then I'm happy. So, although I don't like the flames, I still like the cover.
Inhumans number 12, Ryan Stegman cover.
I used to love Ryan Stegman so much, but lately when I've glanced at his art, but I like this cover.
I do too. I don't know that I necessarily proportionately like the way Medusa looks, but I like the composition of it.
Well, Black Bolt's torso is way off too.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool composition. I love what he did with her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Medusa is so fun design-wise, and
yeah,
he did something fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, so that's my thing. But that's always my problem with Ryan Stegman. I don't like his. I mean, it's his style. I clearly recognize it as being that. I'm not a fan of his
proportions
on his people. How twisted they always are. They're always kind of, wasted and kind of twisted around and stuff. I don't care for that. But I do like the composition of this. This is one of those cases where I like it being just in this case, a yellow void behind them. It's just very, very interesting. You're going to read the title. Your eye's going to flow down her interesting hair right down to the battling out, and I like it.
And to my mind, these are very interesting characters, so it really works.
Mm-hmm.
I have a history of thinking of them as interesting characters, so I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Seeing them that way. If it were two random characters I never knew who I didn't know who they were or anything, just having a fist fight on part of a cover, that might not work. But of course, the hair would, even if I didn't know who they were, the hair would be interesting.
Yeah. Thor number 5.
One of Marvel's most awesome comics.
I'm missing out on.
Why they had to pose her in that pose, but other than that, I like the cover.
Well, I don't even mind this pose. It's not like she's so twisted around that I'm,
right. It's not sexy. It's just a reference to that kind of pose. I mean, why choose that pose? I guess.
Why have her look back over her shoulder?
Yeah.
Well, that can represent a bunch of stuff. I'm not familiar with the story to what's going on. For me, I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with somebody looking back over their shoulder. If she was looking back over her shoulder and I could see both of her breasts and see her ass, I would have a problem because obviously she doesn't have a spine then.
Right.
But this is simply her looking back over her shoulder, which could mean all kinds of things. She's moving forward and looking back. I mean, I think that that thematically and artistically, that's okay to have that pose because it means something, to be doing that. Um,
I guess to me it's a weak pose. I'm much more interested in everything else on the cover but her.
so you want her on the cover looking like the male Thor, all butched out and smashing something?
No, no. I just I don't know. It just doesn't seem that effective of a pose. I like the way her cape is blowing up. This artist, generally, Dauterman, has done brilliant work on, well, the 2 issues of Thor I've seen him do so far. And Matthew Wilson has been coloring and doing, really some of the best Matthew Wilson coloring ever, which is saying a lot.
Right.
And you can see that on this cover.
Mm-hmm.
The colors really pop. So the 2 of them make an incredible artistic team.
I personally, I like this cover. She's clearly just destroyed a bunch of people,
Right.
and I don't have a problem with her looking back over her shoulder. She still looks strong to me. I mean, her arm looks muscular.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't made her so effeminate that that takes away from her being Thor the warrior.
Well, even though it's not sexualized, this is such a generic, cliched pose to see female superheroes in and not males that it just strikes me as like.
Okay,
not.
that's a fair assessment. Yeah. Because rarely do you see guys.
Looks familiar.
Yeah. Rarely do you see the comic book guys looking back over their shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's hundreds of different ways you could have posed her here, but I certainly would see this cover and want to buy it. It's still a really cool cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Thor annual?
You should definitely look for Thor in the back issue bin someday, or trades.
The new run of it.
Well, all of the Jason Aaron run, I would say, which is now been rebooted, but it's still Jason Aaron.
Well, I have the first 12 issues through the God Bomb or whatever.
Did you enjoy those?
Yeah.
Not as much as I did. It sounds like.
Right.
Well then, I mean, I think it improves. The Malekith issue or arc was bad or mediocre, and then it went back to getting even better. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not for everybody.
And that's where I stopped. So Thor annual number 1. I don't like this cover.
Yeah.
This whole splotch of white that's supposed to be, I don't know, cosmic power or something coming out from her hammer just makes a mess of the comic.
And we got a floating head, presumably Odin, behind them.
Sure.
So, better than the Tim Sale cover, but reminds me of someone's hasty sketch.
Mm-hmm. I like the Tim Sale one better. Justifiably, all that energy in there, that makes sense. This doesn't make sense to me.
In any case, my feeling is it's just a half-done sketch.
Yep. Rocket Raccoon.
That was Raphael Albuquerque, by the way. I think he's going to get sloppy.
Yeah.
He's too in demand or something.
Because to some degree that's kind of his style, and it works some places and it doesn't work other places.
Well, he had some very good Batman Eternal covers recently.
Yeah.
Where I thought they were good, but they were getting quite sketchy.
Right. Rocky Raccoon, number 8. If you like Scotty Young, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I like Scotty Young's for what it is.
Yeah, I like what he's done with Rocket's mouth.
Yeah.
Has a sense of gravity pulling on him or something.
Right. So I like it. I like it for a Scotty Young and what Scotty Young does. Nothing exceptional, but it's fun.
Do you think you'll ever read Rocket Raccoon?
Probably not.
I might get it in trade.
Guardians of the Galaxy number 3000? Or Guardians of the Galaxy 3000 number 5. another one of those cases where we painted a bunch of pretty pictures and decided to kind of lay them together on a black field. Is what it looks to me like.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure composition-wise this works.
No, it definitely feels like three different individual pictures just slapped together. It's by Alex Ross.
Yeah. And it doesn't.
Not a better Alex Ross.
No.
He's doing a huge number of Marvel covers, so it may be that he's getting a bit more rushed than he normally is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because his covers at Dynamite or on Astro City are much better than that.
Because, yeah, this is just like some figure work that they colored and slapped on.
I am quite curious about Guardians 3000. I don't know why.
Not in the slightest. Curious to know why she's squatting like that, but whatever.
Well, she might have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay, now here's a weird cover. If you've moved on to the Nova cover.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm rushed ahead.
No, my page just being ornery.
Cover by Orphans Cheaps. What? Is that a joke?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's odd. What just happened? I clicked on. Oh, I don't have that cover anymore.
Really? So when you click on it, it doesn't come up because I see it on your screen. I see the thumbnail.
Oh, okay, so it is Nova 27? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
You know, there's these programs, I think one's called Poser,
Yeah.
that will draw for you, basically, and you just add on elements on the surface of the figure, and that's what this looks like.
Yeah, this is awful.
Interesting, though, that there's this scratchy, sketchy Venom in the background.
Yeah, that looks kind of
That part
cool.
I kind of like, but it's totally ruined for me by the fake-looking
Yeah,
figure.
that's awful. I'm done with that cover. Moon Knight number 12. I like this cover. I like the white negative space,
Mm-hmm.
the old worn out city behind it, and then this, I don't know, scratchy, whatever it is, the bottom.
Right. Well, we know they tend to just do half covers with Moon Knight, right, and put a big logo there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's quite a cool cover. It's very design.
Yep.
I like that. You know, I wouldn't like every cover to be something like this.
Right. It's very graphic. Yeah, you're right. Design and graphic. It's like, yeah. But I like it. It appeals to me immediately.
Right. It definitely, as long as it's like the look for Moon Knight and not something. If Marvel decided to do every cover like in
Yeah, right.
Moon Knight cover, it'd get tired too quickly. Are
So-
you still getting? No, you dropped.
No, I quit when the first creative team got off the book.
Right, because you've had bad luck with Brian Wood
Writing superhero books. Yeah. Daredevil issue number 13.
Another of my all-time favorite current books.
Yep.
See,
Chris
now
Samney
there's
cover?
an example of Chris Samney doing something interesting with the figure of his.
Yes.
Which is what I usually expect for him. That's why I was so shocked with the Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I like everything about this. I'm curious, is that the owl as in the owl?
Probably because he is a character who's been appearing on and off in San Francisco.
So I like this. I mean,
Yeah.
this just, to me, is really interesting.
Yeah, and it totally implies a story of somehow, electronic surveillance or something of a Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors are kind of cool. Yeah. Okay, my faith in Chris Samney is completely restored. Although he thinks Apple computers are paracomputers. I don't know.
Well, because they can't use Apple. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Loki, Agent of Asgard, number 11. This cover's boring.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it's telling us something. There's a tooth missing and one of his horns is broken off of his mask. But this is Photoshop the daylights and
right. It's like just a drawing of that one thing, and then feels very lazy.
Yeah, I like this book, but there's nothing about that would make me want to pick it up.
I'm surprised that cover is credited to the interior artist Lee Garbett. Doesn't seem at all his
No, it doesn't.
Style.
It feels phoned in to me.
You know, it may be something where the art director said, well, we have this idea for the cover, so just draw his tooth and his helmet, and we'll Photoshop it for you.
Yeah. Could be. Captain Marvel, number 12?
It's a good pinup of her. I generally like their covers, but it doesn't tell me a story at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, unless I just think, wow, a strong woman, let's pick this up. It doesn't tell me what the story on the inside is at all, or why I should want to pick up this particular issue.
And here I thought she was trying to be Tinkerbell.
Well, then I would definitely have to buy it.
Well, just because the light and the stars flying off it, to me, that strikes me as very Tinkerbell-esque.
Looks like pixie dust now that you know.
Yeah, and it is Disney after all at the end of the day, right? So.
Well, maybe Disney can, when they do the Captain Marvel movie, can get their Tinkerbell team to work on it. I
like this cover. Though, you know, I mean, granted, it doesn't tell a story, but I don't think every cover needs to.
Right.
I mean, this is like a poster, and I appreciate it for that. I'd wear this on a shirt.
Yeah. No, it would make a great poster pinup shirt. Yeah, that's a good idea, too.
Yeah. So, I like that cover. Like the hues.
Does that look a little bit like Kelly Sue?
No.
Big lips make me think.
No. With all of her duck.
I'm stretching.
all of her duck poses that she does, yeah. Duck lip things. Silver Surfer number 10. I like this cover.
Like all red covers, man.
I don't care about the Silver Surfer in it. I just like this big giant face with a big open mouth. I don't know. I think I lost Damien. But yeah, I like that. I mean, I think that's kind of a cool cover. I'm assuming that's Galactus. He's not quite purple enough. I'm not sure why he's colored necessarily the way that he is, but I do like it. I think it's kind of cool. And yes, it is just me. So Iron Fist, the Living Weapon number 9. Carr Andrews is doing the entire book here. That's interesting because, of course, the yellow makes it look like a flat void, but we get texture around the eyes and forehead to give it shape, like it's rounded. But then you get to the outside edges of it, and it goes flat, like it's a flat plane. So I'm not sure whether or not I really care for that. Welcome back.
Which are you still talking about? Oh no, you moved on.
I moved on to Iron Fist.
That's weird. For a second, I got a double exposure of your Black Adam over this picture.
Oh.
Well, I wonder what he had for lunch.
Well, considering it's coming out of his nose too, I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that.
I don't know. It's just weird having this cover be mostly yellow like it is. I almost wish they hadn't have used the shadowing up on the upper part. Like they just left it all as one flat plane, because it's like a flat plane, and then all of a sudden it has, you know, texture like it's rounded around his face, and it throws me off. I almost wish that it was all flat, and then maybe the skin have the texture to make it look dimensional. but I don't know.
Yeah, at first glance it seemed like a cool cover, but then when I look at it longer, it just bothers me.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind
mean,
of an ugly cover, I guess.
right. It would. I guess it would attract my eye as I walked by and saw it sitting on the shelf. But
It's
I
very
would,
Frank Miller.
yeah, I would quickly put it back.
It reminds me of Sin City or something.
Sure. Yeah. Punisher number 15.
Did they change the order of these? Because I feel like we looked at this one before.
No, I don't think we looked at this one.
Uh,
I haven't looked. I haven't seen it before anyway.
or maybe I looked at it, with my other YouTube friends that no one knows about.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. I like this cover.
I do too. I like this color. I like this artist. I like, I like the textures and the shadowing that they use and whatnot. And the coloring of it all works. I think. I see this cover and it makes me want to pick this book up.
Yeah.
Because if the interior art is anything like what this is, and I think it is, it just has the right tone and texture that I like that.
And I like it sort of the modern Punisher surrounded by the John Romita Punisher or something.
Right, right.
The John Romita Senior Punisher.
Yeah,
For anyone
yeah.
that doesn't follow my thought patterns.
Right, that's kind of cool. I like that cover. That's an interesting cover.
I wonder how long we've been doing this for.
A while. Ms. Marvel number 12.
I mean, I'm enjoying it, but it seems like a really long video for someone else to watch.
They always are.
But twice as long, maybe, with you.
Well, I just don't. That's why I'm always shocked when people say they love these videos, because I just don't understand how you sit through it. So, happy Valentine's Day.
I want to like it, but the red overwhelms me.
This isn't our regular artist, is it?
Isn't Wilson who does the covers usually?
Well, the covers had been being done by
Or not by Wilson, by
Mike McAfee or whatever his
right, the guy from
McKelvey, yeah.
McKelvey, the guy from Wicked and Divine and Young Avengers. Yeah, you're right. This is someone else,
Chris. Yeah, and I don't. The storytelling's there. The elements. I like the elements of what's here. Composition, it works fine and whatnot. It's just the cartoonishness of her face and whatnot doesn't appeal to me, and her cartoony face looks different than everybody else's cartoonish face.
Uh-huh.
And not different as in that she's a different person, so clearly her face looks different.
Right. I can like a different style.
It's styled different, and that's I think my problem with it.
That doesn't bother me too much. I think if it were colored differently, I'd like it well enough.
We'll see, but clearly it's a Valentine's dance of some sort. So I guess I don't have a problem with it being colored all that kind of pinks and reds and stuff.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It's too red for my taste. Even though it makes sense for Valentine's Day.
Right.
The reds repel me. I like the expression on Loki's face.
Yeah. I look forward to reading this just because Loki and her together, I don't know.
Her face is too cartoony, but
yeah.
But I still like the cover, except for the red, over saturation of the reds.
Yeah, it's her face. That's what bothers me about it. All New Invaders number 15. Seriously, this book is still... Okay. And this right here is everything I hate about this book, right on one cover.
I cry for Steve Pugh, who I was enjoying so much on Animal Man, to see this art.
It's so everything I don't like about a superhero comic book cover. I just, oh,
Well, you can tell Captain America is thinking about America and feeling a deep spiritual feeling.
oh, I thought his eyes were starting to roll back in his head.
Now, which Captain America is that?
It's clearly Steve Rogers because the other Captain America's in the front.
Oh, you're right.
But they're probably dealing with the ramifications of whatever he did back in
Uh-huh.
the 40s.
Right.
I don't know. I'm shocked this book is still even exists. But I hate this cover. I hate everything.
Me too.
I hate everything about it. It's atrocious. All new Ghost Rider number 11.
Cover by Fiona Staples. It says, I don't recognize her style.
What? No. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe this isn't actually her cover. It just doesn't look...
Maybe a little bit of that yellow and the streaks from the coming off the car, but otherwise, no. Seriously? Well, if it's Fiona Staples, which it could be, I don't see her signature anywhere on it, though. This is really phoned in feeling to me. I mean, clearly there he is driving. You've got the big picture of his face, and then there's the car streaking across. And, wow.
Another one that's two images transposed onto each other and don't really do much for me.
That's boring.
Not at all what I would think of from Fiona, if it is her.
That's boring. Deathlock number 5.
Do we have viewers?
I have no idea. I can't see that one. I'm sharing.
It doesn't tell you when you're sharing.
Yeah. So I like this cover. I like the fact that all the bodies are all kind of one or two tones, and then he's brightly brightly colored in amongst the sea of dead bodies. This pile of dead bodies, I don't know why the angle that we're looking at them works. To be an entire background as opposed to it being more of a flat plane, and we're just seeing a profile of heaping bodies.
It even has a bit of a Joe Kubert war comic book look to it. I like, but so I think it's a well done cover. I don't think I would buy it because it just looks too damn depressing.
Yeah, I've not interested in Deathlock, but yeah, I do like the cover. I think
it's a well done cover.
Yeah. We have 2 viewers.
Oh, hey guys.
So David Raccoonus, awesome, love Super Dyke, and 1904 Comics are the 2 people who have made comments that I can see. So those of you who are watching, unless those two viewers are me and you.
No, because I clicked out of trying to check up on it because I didn't want to use up my limited bandwidth.
Black Widow, issue number 15. Which, looking at this cover this close up like we are, because we're actually seeing, at least on my screen.
Hard to see the whole cover.
And I'm seeing it bigger than I would see it in an actual physical cover. I mean, it's just larger. It does not look good because it's using all of these elements, the map, the bullets, the gun, the knife, to create her eyebrows, hair. Her bracelets are the bullets that are up close.
It's a clever idea, but it's hard to tell if it really would work.
Well, we're too close. I mean, that's the problem is, I think when I'm looking at it here, it looks great. When it's just a small little icon, it's just up close, it falls apart. So I don't know in reality if that would work. I mean, it is a clever idea, but I'm not sure that it wouldn't fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, I like the subtle, like her nose is being made by a switchblade, which is very clever. Yeah, I appreciate it intellectually. It's hard to tell whether that's a cover.
Right. Elektra number 11, final issue of Elektra.
Oh yay!
I mean,
No, I was being
Right.
sarcastic when I said, "Oh yay," because
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting this in trades. I guess I'm one of the people who did not support it on the newsstand, but
I like this cover. It's simple. I like the fact that she's there, striking a ballerina pose, which, is this part of this innocent part of her existence that really kind of got taken away from her and stuff. And I love how she is the shape of a sigh,
Mhm.
kind of. And so when
Yeah.
the so therefore the shadow of that is this bloody sigh.
And those, I mean, if you have any experience with Electra, those size seem so symbolic of Electra that it just seems
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And I like how simple the whole thing is.
I feel really bad for agreeing with you so much.
uh, now I'm trying to remember what cover it was that I said I hated that you liked.
There have been a few,
Yeah.
but I remember the night that you were doing it on your own, and I was like disagreeing with everything you were saying, and
So you
and
just
that's
won't
when
you
I
just won't
kind
you
of
just won't disagree to my face. That's what you're saying.
no, I just was sure then that we had completely opposite taste in covers, but now I don't feel so confident in that.
So for anybody who happens to be watching this far into the video, bless you. And this is about the point where I start getting fatigued talking about covers because I feel like I'm looking at the same cover over and over again, or I'm
Hmm.
saying the same thing over and over again, and I just worry that it's boring the daylights out of the people who are watching.
Right.
So here's Hulk number 11. Yeah, pretty much.
Um, it feels like standard fare. Um, it is. Is it Mark Bagley who's kind of
Yes, yes, it
so?
is.
I mean, he and Alan Davis are almost identical now, but
Yeah,
um,
I don't.
the only thing that would interest me about this is I like the character of Thundra, or at least in theory do. I mean, I probably haven't read her since I was 13, but so it might be interesting to see her in a comic book. But it's just, I think if you'd never read superhero comics before, this might be an exciting cover. But it's so generic.
Yeah, no, there's nothing about this there's nothing about this that's interesting to me. I just yeah. So also one other person that is watching Kayla Seguin, I think, is another person who's actually watching us. She
Well,
says that
that's new to me. Hello, Kayla.
she says that she's been watching since the start.
Wow.
I've seen her name pop up in other people's comments. I don't know that she's making videos yet. I kind of keep watching to see if
Uh-huh.
she's going to.
Well,
Um,
that would be cool. You should make videos.
yes. But at any rate, yeah, I'm not too excited by this cover either. It's
Uh,
it's it's kind of yeah. Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man number 10. Um, this is one of those ones I kind of like the idea of it. The symbol
uh-huh.
made up of this massive army.
Hmm.
Um, but I, it's more interesting from a distance than it is up close.
Uh-huh. I think it's a pretty awesome cover.
Yeah,
However, I don't like the red background. I don't know why I seem to be anti-red today.
because there's lots of red covers.
I feel like it would look better with some other color. I don't know what color, but yeah. Somehow
Well,
red does a thing where the red comes forward, and I don't want the background coming forward at my eye.
mm,
It's like a weird, like one
well,
of those 3D pictures where the kind you look at it and the foreground and the background keep flipping.
yeah. Well, I don't know who these soldiers are,
Hmm.
but they're kind of a greenish blue in the greenish specter of blue kind of thing, and so contrasting color from that is red, right?
I suppose, yeah.
So that's what would be my assumption as to why it's that way. Contrasting, very yeah. Um, is why I'm assuming that it's the element that it is. So I don't know if they have to be colored that way because that's the color they are. So then your colorist is going to take that as the other color. What, make it yellow instead?
By the way, Kayla, you get a no prize for watching from the beginning if you make it to the end. It's actually already in the mail.
It is.
In the no mail, that is.
Right. Spider-Man and the X-Men number 3.
I still love the idea of the no prize. I don't know why.
Because it's fun. I wish I won one.
Well, I will award you one someday.
Oh, awesome. So.
Wait, is this a real Marvel comic?
Yes. This is Spider-Man and the X-Men. Because Spider-Man takes over for Wolverine now that Wolverine's dead.
Oh.
With the X-Men students.
It almost looked like something from TV for a second. But
I kind of like these top panels.
Uh-huh.
I look at them and
interesting, but the
I
bottom
look at them and I'm interested in those characters. Who are those people? What are they about? The bottom half of it and Spider-Man himself look awful.
They look really awful. So the bottom half does look like it's taken from a TV show.
Yeah.
And the top half looks like it's taken from a cool indie comic.
Right. And I think Spider-Man is skinnier than I am.
Yeah.
That's frightening. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, didn't you recently reveal you're 7 feet tall and weigh 100 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Close. Cyclops number 10.
Sorry, I get sillier as I get sleepier.
Yeah. It's getting late. I like this cover. I almost hate to say it, but I do like this cover. That's an interesting beast with all the extra arms and limbs and whatnot. The big face. Obviously, they're like in snow or something along those lines. It seems it's rushing out at them. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on though. You know why the hand is twisted like it is. That one hand of Cyclops is pretty wild looking. I don't know how your pinky does that. I still like it though. There's some
it's
I don't know.
visceral.
Yeah, it's almost got a, as far as the monster goes, it's almost got a Conan from the like late 70s, early 80s
Definitely
book cover feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
That appeals to that kid in me, I guess. I like it on that level.
Yeah. It has, I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it has a lot of intensity and feeling of being in the middle of the action.
Yeah.
That creature is disturbing because those claws are coming from so many different directions.
Right. Yeah, I guess I like it for that.
I don't know if I would buy this book or not. If based on cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know either. Like I said, I like the monster, but it breaks down as soon as it gets away from the monster and down to the people. I mean, I feel the kind of the energy, but I don't know. The guy that's closest to us, his hair looks weird. I mean, the hair that's coming out of the back of his head versus the hair that's. Mm-hmm. I mean, is he wearing a comb over, or I don't know that I completely understand that. And like I said, Cyclops that one hand just looks really messed up. The way that pinky's off to one side versus the rest of his fingers.
Right.
It's like almost like he accidentally drew two left hands and went, oh crap, that's his right hand. And so they changed the thumb into a pinky.
I know.
But left it in the same shape. I don't know.
That kind of detail is the kind of thing you don't notice till you bring the comic book home with you or something.
Right.
But
I end up picking it up for the stupid monster that's on it. I admit it. I'd put it back down because I go, oh crap, it's Cyclops, and put it back. But
I like Cyclops.
X-Force number 15. I don't.
Ugly.
Yeah, exactly. The coloring is wrong. Oh, nice pop-up. Go pop up in the way.
You count.
Oh, get rid of the pop-up. Ah. Oh, you son of a gun. Oh.
Oh, now I just got the pop-up. It took longer for it to show up with me. It's one of those things where you exit out, but it actually links you to the thing anyway.
Yeah, yeah. That's special.
I hate those.
Now I can't get the cover to come up.
It came back up for me. Well, we can just move on. It was a bad cover, and we've looked at a lot of bad covers tonight, right? And some great covers.
What the heck?
Can you get the next one? The Uncanny.
There we go. There we go. Uncanny X-Men. I like this cover because it's lots of Cyclopses laying all over the place, beat up. No, I like this cover anyway. I like this angle, the downward shot. I like the camera angle of it.
I like that the title's incorporated into it that way.
Right.
That's pretty cool. And there's shadows. These ones where people are standing in the middle of nowhere and have no shadows, I'm suddenly realizing I really like seeing a shadow.
Right, because they're not floating in the middle of nowhere. They have some, some depth to them and whatnot.
Right.
So
this makes them out to be on some white surface rather than just floating.
Right. And all these different Cyclopses are all interesting. Clearly, that's some element of the story because here's, our current Cyclops with all these Cyclopses of futures past and present and whatever.
And this has very nice ink work.
Mm-hmm.
You can really see it, and I appreciate that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who the artist was for that. That's Chris Bacalo.
Yeah, who's also the interior artist.
Right.
So, Deadpool number 42.
Well, you're going to buy it when you hear the name Deadpool, so you don't really need to see the cover.
It's an instant pull for me, yeah.
I got the wrong Deadpool cover. What happened? Let me try this again.
Deadpool cover by Brooks.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I don't care one way or the other about this. It's a shinier, slicker version of the standard cover, right?
Yeah, right. These covers where it's just the villain and the hero coming at each other from two angles.
And nothing to give us a sense of where they're at, what's going on. Instead of it just being a pure white cover, they smudge some brown in the background, but it's still the same sort of a...
Right.
And I know, maybe that's wrong, but I like having those elements. I like those elements being there. It just... I don't know, it makes a lot more sense that they're not just floating in limbo, unless they're in limbo.
Right.
So...
Sometimes it makes me wonder, supposedly the modern comic book artists take so much longer to do things, but a lot of these covers seem to have a lot less actual drawing going on than...
Well, and a lot of elements clearly to me seem to be put in by the colorist, whether that's the artist or there's actually a colorist too, Return of the Living Deadpool, number 1.
That's a good cover.
I like this cover. It's just kind of funny.
It's funny, and it seems just right for Return of the Living Deadpool.
And it's kind of creepy, quite honestly. You're
it's creepy. But I love when horror is funny and scary.
You're laying on your back, and here's all these Deadpool staring at you. This is like one of my worst nightmares. Oh, man.
And that's the corpse of Matt, Agent 42Q, behind them.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Coming to get you.
Yes. Oh, I do like that cover, though. That's a fun cover.
That's an excellent cover.
I don't know that I'll pick up that up, but Storm number 8. Book I never heard anybody talking about.
Maybe your son would come back to comics if you only got
what the hell? Obviously, I'm looking at these things too. There we go. Got the cover up. No, Ethan hates Deadpool.
Oh, okay. Darn it.
Yeah. He has good taste.
I was trying to make a father-son conflict.
Yeah. He'll argue anything with me, though. He'd take Deadpool's side just to be argumentative. He's at that stage. So. So storm number 8. Is this one of those painted covers that kind of drops the life out of it?
Not as bad as some, but it's heading in that
It
direction.
still seems very static.
Very static, very stiff. And it kind of like, I mean, this sounds really over analyzing, but the light source is from both sides of her body, and that makes it
Right.
more static.
Right. Which is a weird element. I mean, not that it can't happen, but it just seems weird.
Right.
That both of her ears are lit up and stuff. Yeah. The sides of her head.
Yeah, and when you're painting and everything, anyway, it's not as bad as some of them.
Right. Yeah, it's okay. Nightcrawler number 11. It's a purple cover.
I can't seem to open it up.
Must have it because it's a purple cover.
You know, at this point, after looking at so many, I don't think I would dislike this as much earlier on.
Okay, I like the Nightcrawler, the logo. I like how it splashes into the element of what's
That
going
is
on in
cool.
the cover.
It's cool.
That's kind of interesting. I don't even mind Nightcrawler's mean-looking face.
Without a nose.
And I certainly like the color. Like I said, all those hues of purple. I'm a sucker for purple covers as far as that goes. But yeah, I moved down to his chest, torso, where there isn't any blurring, and it breaks down really quickly for me. That whole element of the whatever's going on. Is he frozen in a block of ice, and we're looking through a purple ice cube? I don't know.
It feels like a very little thought went into this. There's a lot of covers with just the two figures fighting, and these just one figure covers.
This is a special effect.
If it told me something more about it, maybe, but it doesn't tell me a whole lot.
No. It's just a special effect. Like I said, what appeals to me is the Nightcrawler across the top and the fact it's purple. But otherwise, it's just a special effect. It's not. I don't know.
Maybe there'll be this interesting blurb across it later. You know, Nightcrawler hates the color purple. Gets pissed off.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. Amazing X-Men number 17. You can see Juggernaut clicking his teeth together.
You know, that's cool. In my book.
Him clicking his teeth together?
Just the whole cover.
Or him headbutting the amazing part. That's because that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this close-up picture of Juggernaut. It's pretty cool.
I kind of wish they made it look like he'd taken a bite out of the X of X-Men too, because of his teeth there. But anyway.
I don't know that I like the
splatter.
The splatter thing. I don't know that I needed that. I
kind of like the splatter.
I would have been fine without that element.
This again works for me in part because I know the character.
Right.
You know, and I think Juggernaut is, although I haven't read X-Men in a bazillion years too much, but Juggernaut always stands out to me as one of my favorite X-Men villains, so it's fun to see him this way.
Yeah, but you're right. If you did not know who Juggernaut was, what does this cover mean from that perspective?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is just some, hero from some forgotten comic book. It wouldn't mean much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that cover works, just knowing who it is and whatnot. Magneto number 15. Ooh.
Somewhere something went wrong here.
Yeah. The elements don't work. I mean, I get the concept of what they were trying to do. You know, him kind of breaking through the whole shield thing.
Right.
But
they didn't draw the shield right somehow.
Well, they didn't draw the shield thing right. The way it's been colored, it's like quick markers, and they didn't take out the markers. I mean, you can you can see. Okay, here we used Part of it we used a Sharpie because that's the quickest, blackest
Right.
way I could get whatever. And it just kind of,
And they didn't angle the pieces in ways that it's just not
right.
very convincing of a broken shield. It just looks like a piece of paper torn up or something.
And I'm not sure what his hand is doing.
Uh, It looks like another pinky problem, doesn't it?
Well, it's not just the
It's hard to
pink,
be sure.
the whole hand. I don't understand what it's supposed to. Is that hand
He's
moving
using
through
his
the?
magnetic power to rip up this shield, but
Yeah, but his hand is in front of it in some elements and behind it in other elements. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It
it's
could have
not
been a cool picture, I think, if they had. Uh, I don't know.
right, but no, that's not good, color-wise or anything about it. X-Men 24, a Terry Dodson cover. As a side note, this is an issue that's written by G. Will Wilson, the person who's writing
That's going to make it very
his Marvel.
difficult to buy. Although, I don't know. Even when it's written by writers I love, I don't usually buy X-Men books.
I'm a Terry Dodson fan, but I don't really care for this cover.
Yeah, it doesn't pop very much.
Yeah, it's part of me wants to say it's colored wrong, but it's colored by the Rachel who colors all of his stuff. They're a husband and wife team. Um,
And usually, to me, one of the most notable elements of his covers is kind of a gracefulness,
yeah,
and this doesn't have that.
right. Maybe you can't be graceful when you're climbing out of a hole. I don't know.
Right. Her fingers don't, on one of those arms, don't look very. They don't quite work for me either.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like just an off day for Terry Dodson.
yeah. We're gonna skip the trade. Move
Is
down
that
to
everything then?
what's that?
Is that everything, or are we going to look at kind of Wrath and Powers, or?
I think we're rolling off into trade, so I think we're gonna.
Yeah, they have covers of some of their icon books, which are basically Men of Wrath and
Right.
Powers.
Do you want to talk about those?
I don't know.
Minute Raft number 5. What the heck? We're already like 3 hours into this video. It's a
Right.
little bit longer.
As long as you know.
Okay, so Minute Raft number 5.
I'm not reading Men of Wrath, so I have no perspective on it other than looking at this cover, and I think this is a great cover.
Yeah, I like this cover
Really?
too. It's a great looking cover. I'm really curious as to where the story goes to get us here because I am reading Minute Wrath. Yeah, all the dead sheep, the dead lamb,
Possibly
yeah,
the dead, dying hero.
right. Well, I don't know. He's a hero.
Well, sorry.
Gunman of one sort or another, right? And then the reaching out, crying child. Yeah, I love it. I like the colors of it. Now here's where a lighting source clearly comes from one side.
Exactly,
The one corner of the cover and one side of the cover is well lit. The other side gets darker. The shadows off of his hand work. The shadows that are laid around his legs and off to that one side of his body. All perfect elements for
And
this.
The draftsmanship, the proportions, the style of the inking everything is pleasing to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To me, that's a great piece of art. Yeah.
If the baby survives, maybe I'll read it.
Don't read this book. Children are not spared in that book at all.
I suppose I'm slowly
Powers
getting
over
over the. I mean, when my daughter, being a parent has made me much more sensitive to these things. But now my daughter's getting older, it's a little easier to deal with babies in peril and stuff.
Yeah.
Than it would have been a few years ago.
And here's the power book. Do not like this.
Yeah, this really does not work for me.
Yeah, it epitomizes those elements once again. I kind of like a lot of Michael Avon Owen's work, but not not this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, I mean, even if you like the idea of two characters kind of hovering into each other, it just looks wrong. His chest muscle going into her eye and his ribs going into her cheek.
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, nope. So I think that is
The end of another exciting night on YouTube.
yeah, and actually we had had a few people who hung around the entire time. Um, Christina and I will not say your last name as to not butcher it and embarrass myself. Ariati or along the lines. You're right, but she's watching it live. She says normally she doesn't watch live, but she's been sent through the whole thing too.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much. And it's 3 a.m. where she's at.
Wow.
So she's an East Coast person. So staying up this late, I'm impressed because it's way past my bedtime now too. So yeah.
A few times I've listened back to the audio of my vlogs, and they've put me to sleep. So I'm amazed you stayed awake.
Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for anybody who watches this later on. Leave some comments if you would. What do you like about watching Uncover the Covers? Is it the fact this is just a fun way to look at what the future solicitations are? Do you actually like listening to us talk about design elements or what we think works or doesn't work about the comic covers? I'm happy to do them. I mean, I like looking at the covers too, but as per usual, it gets to be this late into the video, and I start to feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. So, anyway, is what it is. Thank you for coming on, Damien. Maybe we'll see about getting together and talking some of the other covers for some of the other companies this month before it's all said and done.
Yeah, maybe there's some way to do just part of a... It is a very long video. It feels like this has been 2 hours or something.
It has. It has been 2 hours. So there you go.
Yeah, but let's do it again. I had a good time.
Which is actually a lot less time than I thought it was going to take, because that's only like 30 minutes more than if it was just me talking. So
that's because we agreed too much.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to find something to fight over. We'll look up some covers that we absolutely love or hate and go from there, huh? Anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll do it again.
Good night. Bye-bye.